Hi there, this is David and welcome to my impression of Star Ocean Blue Sphere for the Game Boy Color. I remember when I first heard about this game back in 2001 and I wished so much that it would become released here in America. But my wishes were for naught. Even though the game that is based upon Star Ocean the Second Story was released here to critical acclaim only 3 years prior in 1998, they didn't release the portable sequel. So, I did the only thing that I knew how to do, which was wait for news of a translation. But nothing ever came about. However, now 20 years later, it has finally been translated into English, and I had a chance to play for about an hour and give you my impressions of the lost Star Ocean game. But first, let's take a trip back in time to 2001. I was 19 years old, living in an apartment with my friend John, going to Kennesaw State University with an undeclared major. I was still working at Publix in the customer service office, addicted to EverQuest, closeted, and suffering from an eating disorder. But RPGs were an escape from the pressures of my parents, school, the future, knowing that I was gay, and it was just a great escape from the world. And Star Ocean the Second Story was one of my favorites. Many times I would play my Game Boy Color at the school's library between classes or at work on break, so this would have been fantastic back then, and I'm sure that I would have been glued to it. Game Boy Color games were always interesting, because it's just such a strange transitional time period. You can tell that the developers were wanting to make a PlayStation-type experience, but on NES-type hardware. They have grandiose ideas, but many times they just came out odd and flawed. Grandia Parallel Trippers was this way, utilizing a card-based battle system and a Zelda-type overworld because they couldn't really do an active time system or have a large open areas to explore. Luffy The Legend Returns had some big ideas too, but then they had to resort to lazy random dungeons to fit it all in. And Star Ocean Blue Sphere also fits this mold. Big ideas, somewhat poor execution, but let's start at the beginning. The game opens up with the gang in a spaceship, searching for Ernst and Opera, only for the ship to crash, and Claude and Raina to go missing, so it's up to the remaining cast to traverse the planet and find the missing crew. You then get to choose any of the remaining characters to make up your party of 3. But just keep in mind that your other 2 members aren't really going to be doing all that much in battle, so just choose a sword fighter as your first guy, and then the other 2 can be whoever you want. I chose Noel for healing and Ashton because he's pretty cool. But truth be told, in my entire hour playing the game, I think that Noel casts like 2 spells, and I don't think that Ashton did one damn solitary thing. Remember playing Tales of Destiny on the PlayStation where Stan did like 90% of the fighting? Well, it's even worse here. Whoever's in the first position is going to be doing 100% of it all. Battles are encountered on screen and they're fought 3-on-1. The vast majority of the enemies that I fought were killed in like 1 or 2 hits. It wasn't hard at all. Even the boss went down pretty easily. I'm sure that it gets harder as the game goes on though, because it sure as hell can't get any easier. You don't gain full or experience after battles, instead you get SP or skill points, which are used to increase your character's stats and capabilities. Each character has a growth grid, and you spend your SP to gain better stats, and as each ability grows, new powers will be unlocked as well. These could be new attacks, new spells, or even new crafting abilities. Personally, I just loaded up all my SP onto Dias, since she was doing everything in battle anyway. The environments you explore are open, large, lush, and full of life. Enemies appear and move about the screen, the towns are detailed and filled with NPCs as well, and having action-based combat like this is really pushing the small portable to its limits. You can tell that they did their best to put that PlayStation console experience onto this portable NES. The world map is made up of interconnected zones with plenty of pitfalls, objects to destroy, and secrets to find. And backtracking is painless as well, since you can warp back to your spaceship at any time, and then from there, warp to any location that you've previously been to. Since the world is so large though, it would greatly benefit from an in-game map, and it's sadly lacking here. The world that you crash onto is a mix of wilderness and sci-fi ancient ruins filled with robots, electronics, and high technology. It almost reminded me of Grandia, where Sue and Justin are constantly wanting to be adventurers and explore ancient ruins, because it's kind of the same thing here. Basically, as you're looking for Ernst and Opera, you're searching all the ruins that you come across to find spare parts for your spaceship so that you can return back home. The dungeon design is fairly complicated, and it took me back to 20 years ago. There's no hand-holding here, no mini-maps, and no explanation on what to do. You just have to wander around, flip levers, turn on escalators, destroy objects, jump over pits, and find treasures until you reach the end. And while all of your characters can dash, run, and push, each of them also have unique map abilities as well, such as breathing fire with Ashton's dragons, analyzing monsters with Noel, or setting off bombs to clear rubble. It's pretty involved and complex for a portable game, but I was digging it. Though, because of all those field abilities and little context as to where to go next or what to do, you can get lost relatively easily. Crafting is back, and it looks to be just as it was in the second story. But in my 1 hour of playing, I didn't craft anything. There was no need for it, though it did seem simple enough to do. Interestingly, this game was so popular in Japan that only 8 years later in 2009, they released a mobile remake. But again, that was Japan only too. This game truly is like playing a time capsule, and I think that that's what I love so much about the translation scene. I mean, if I pick up a game that I first played 20 years ago, I already know what to do and I know where to go. But if I pick up a translated game, it's an entirely new experience for me, and it brings me back to my childhood, or in this case, my tumultuous college years. So, that's it for my impressions of Star Ocean Blue Sphere. Have you played it? And if so, what did you feel about the game? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video and wanted to hear on the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or joining the Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them can be found in the video description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.